Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I bet you thought you would never see my face again. And for that, I do apologize. I also apologize if the video or audio quality is not great because I have not done this in so long. I vaguely remember how to set things up. So, where have I been? Why have I come back? I always said that I did YouTube in my spare time. And if I had spare time, I would make videos. And for a long time, I did not have spare time. A lot of changes have happened. I know I did like a comeback video over a year ago at this point where I talked a bit about what was going on with my life. So let me update you even more. I'm a full-fledged tattoo artist now. I still do makeup professionally, only technically though because the film industry is dead. So 98% of the time I'm tattooing. That is now my full-time job. I am a tattoo artist. It's what I've always wanted to do with my life, and I'm doing it. I've been doing it for the past 3 years now. Am I in focus? Oh shit. I forgot to check if I was in focus. Again, apologies for technical quality. So like I said, I've wanted to be a tattoo artist my whole life. And in a recent effort to bring more joy into my life, because things are kind of rough right now, I've gone back to reading a lot. I used to read a lot as a kid, and then I didn't read for many, many years, which was a pretty big bummer. And then slowly I started getting into audiobooks. Last year was really when I jumped in headfirst into reading. I listened to / read 49 books. I almost made it to 50, and that's the most books I've ever read in a single year. This year, I want to grow that number even more. But because of my newfound love for reading, it's kind of all I want to talk about now. If you've gotten tattooed by me in the last year or so, I just talk about books. Yeah. And so that got me thinking, I still love makeup. I haven't been doing it professionally, which is honestly kind of good in a way because I was really burnt out. I was burnt out from working on set, and now having shifted my energy to tattooing, I can kind of appreciate makeup artistry more, or again. I was really burnt out for a long while, and I miss it. I miss doing makeup, and I miss YouTube. I miss you guys so much. I honestly have the best community on here. My followers are awesome. I don't know how else to put it. You guys are awesome. I have gotten some really great friendships out of having this channel. So the reason I miss it the most is the community. And I know that makeup YouTube isn't what it used to be, okay? Long gone are the golden days of makeup YouTube. I think we're all aware of that. So, and I just noticed my foundation does not match my neck. Please disregard. I don't wear foundation anymore in a day-to-day basis. I don't wear foundation. So I just put this on for the video. Anyway, going back. I think we can all agree golden era of makeup YouTube, of beauty YouTube is over. And most of the beauty creators that I know have moved on to making different types of content. And that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing. Mind you, it's still going to be makeup. I will still be applying makeup on my face. I will still be doing looks. That aspect is not going away. I do, however, want to incorporate other things into it as well. And most notably, books. So I want to start a series. I still don't know what to call it. I've been thinking about books and brushes. I wanted something like easy, catchy. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. I thought about literature and lipstick, but that one doesn't roll off the tongue as easily. A friend suggested books and looks, but there's already a podcast with that name. So if you have any ideas, please help me out and write it down below. The idea is I will be doing a makeup look, either based on a book. I've sketched out a bunch of looks based on book covers. So I plan to film those. Today, I'm going to start with one of those. But I also want to do, makeup looks based on characters or just like anything bookish, I guess. And I want to talk about books while I'm doing the makeup. I feel like I haven't seen this type of content anywhere, so I figured I'd do it. I love yapping about books, and YouTube is the place to yap. But you guys want to see me do makeup, I still want to do makeup, so let's combine the two. Let me know if you love this idea. If you hate it, just let me know. I'm still probably gonna do it anyway. So without further ado, I'm gonna start putting some makeup on my face while I talk about a book. I decided to start off with Before We Were Trans by Kit Hayam. I decided to kick off the series with this book because I think it's a very important read, especially considering everything going on right now. especially if you live in the United States, which I currently do. This is a book I read last year and I highly, highly recommend. I've recommended it to so many people. Also, I love the cover and I think it makes for a really striking inspiration for a makeup look. I couldn't find information on who the artist was for the book cover. I know that the cover designer is Anne Kirshner. I'm not sure about the artist, so if anyone knows, please let me know down below. Also, because I haven't done makeup in a long time and I wear very basic makeup during my day-to-day, I'm gonna be using some lipsticks around my eyes. They're probably expired, so no one call me out on it. I know for sure one of them is expired. I'm using Old Lime Crime, so please ignore. Don't do what I do what I say. I think I'm actually going to start off with that one. It's the Lime Crime Squash, and I'm not going to use this one directly around my eyes, so hopefully I'll be okay. And I want to, oh wow, my under eye is creasing a lot. Okay, you want to know something funny? Is back when I used to do YouTube regularly, the way I used to prep my eyelids was just concealer and powder and that's it. And I used to get so many comments from people being like, what do you do so that your eyes don't get oily or so that your eyeshadow doesn't crease? And literally that was it. And I was like, I don't know, it just doesn't crease. And then the second I hit 30, my eyelids started creasing, my eyeshadow started creasing, so now I have to use an eyeshadow base every single time. So today I prepped my eyelids with the Melt Cosmetics Melted Liquid Eyeshadow Base in the color Vanilla. I love these shadow bases. They do not budge. And sometimes I'll wear them by themselves, like in the place of eyeshadow. But yeah, my under eye is creasing a lot because I put actually a ton of product. I usually don't wear this much product on my face. So I'm doing it just for the gram. But okay, I want to keep a very painterly effect, so I'm just going straight in with the doe foot, kind of trying to replicate like brushstrokes almost. I'm just going to be layering on some kind of abstract shapes. Initially, I designed this with some blush underneath all this as well, but I don't know if I'm going to go with a blush. I think I want to just keep the colors very kind of blocky and asymmetrical. Man, I have not done this in so long. I don't even know if I can talk and do makeup at the same time anymore. But no, I need to talk about the book. I also forgot to mention the reason that I am showing a picture of the cover and not holding up the book is because I get 95% of my books from Libby. If you don't know what Libby is, it's a free library app where you can get free audiobooks, free ebooks, free magazines. So I get all my audiobooks for free from the library. And you can have multiple library cards. It's amazing. I have like 5 different library cards. Okay, this is what I'm going to do for now with this color. Next, I'm going in with Ink of Elation in the color Clio. I absolutely love these lipsticks. I still have all of them, even though they're... Oh, it still smells good. I'm being a little daredevil today, but you know what? It's fine. Also, if I'm looking down while I'm doing my makeup, I'm following a face chart that I drew, just so I could be a little more organized. For most of my looks, I did not draw them beforehand, but for this series with book covers, I thought it would be a good idea to like try to plan them out first. But okay, let's talk about books. So before we were trans, I was actually recommended this book by my best friend, who is not a queer person. He just hit me up and was like, hey, I think you'll like this book. It's really interesting. And so I read it and he was right. It basically covers the history of gender nonconformity through a bunch of different cultures, continents, centuries. It covers a very wide gamut. It also tackles the subject of how trans is a very new term. The way we see gender and sexuality and all that has changed a lot throughout the years, and it changes depending on culture as well. So the book basically showcases different instances of gender nonconformity in instances where you can't pinpoint and say, oh, that person was trans because they didn't self-identify as trans before the term trans even existed, but they were definitely gender nonconforming. It basically showcases that, you know, trans people and gender nonconforming people have always existed and will always exist. And it's super interesting. I highly recommend it. I'm normally a person that typically sticks to reading fiction, and I'll sprinkle in some nonfiction every once in a while. And I am very glad that I read this book. I think it should be mandatory reading, honestly. I think it's a very important conversation to have because it's not one that is had very often. Now I'm going to go in with my Black Opal Indigo lipstick, and I am trying to be precise with my application, kind of, but I'm also welcoming the imperfections. Like, all this texture that I'm getting from just very gently swiping the doe foot on my skin is exactly what I want. Going back to the book, it shares examples from ancient Egypt, from Japan, England, so many different countries and time periods. It also discusses how in the past, gender wasn't necessarily separate from sexuality, especially in Western culture. If you were a gay man, for example, you would be seen as a female-leaning man or a feminine man. I don't remember the exact terminology that they use. I apologize. It has been a minute since I read this book. But yeah, just how things have changed, you know? Okay, now I'm going to mix this NYX Navi paint that they came out in their Avatar collection. It's a blue body paint, and I'm mixing the Melt white eyeshadow base just to get a slightly lighter blue. Let me show you the little palette I've got going on the back of my hand. This is the color that I need. This is what the blue looks like out of the tube. So I'm just going to mix that up with a little bit of white. And the book cover isn't exactly as abstract as I'm doing this look. It's, you know, there's people on it, but it is a kind of abstract take on it a little bit. So, well, I just hit my microphone. I am so not used to this anymore, y'all. You'll have to forgive me if this video is a little bit clunky. I don't remember how to talk to a camera anymore. But I haven't read any other books like this one. If you guys have recommendations, I would love to hear them. The thing is though, I feel like the research just isn't there. This is something that people haven't been researching. Like, for example, after I read the chapter on Japan, where there's this specific group of people where they were basically gender non-conforming, they were neither men or women. I went and checked out the Wikipedia article for it, and it just says that they were gay men. And so it's really hard to find information about, you know, this subject. I feel like there isn't a lot of research. There just isn't a lot of funding, honestly, for this type of discussion, which is a bummer and a shame. And I'm glad that there are people like Kit who are doing it, who are going out and doing the research and publishing it for everyone to read. So if you guys do know of any other books like this one, please let me know. Okay, because I feel so rusty and I feel like I don't know how to talk to the camera, I'm just going to read a bit of someone else's review of this book just so you can understand it a little bit better. Hayam does an excellent job of emphasizing the subjectivity of the past and how our understanding of gender in the modern context cannot be retrofitted to cultures or eras it doesn't belong to. For a topic that is inherently contentious and fraught with revisionism and bias, I think the chapters provide sufficient critical analysis while also respecting the ambiguity of history. That is a very, very accurate review. I'm reading a section of a review by Lit Laugh Love on the Fable app, which, by the way, if you don't know what the Fable app is, it's basically a more modern version of Goodreads. That's not owned by Amazon. That's POC owned. That has a much more modern interface. It looks a lot cuter. There's a social aspect to it. There's book clubs. If you want to add me on there, I'm also pompberry. I'm going to leave the link down below if you want to check it out. If you're not on it and you use my link, you will get $5 credit towards an ebook. They do have ebooks on the app. I personally don't read ebooks. I just listen to audiobooks or I read physical books. But if you're someone who has an e-reader and is into it, then I would recommend it. So yeah, I'm leaving that down below. So yeah, basically that worded it much better than I did, I think, before. I have not been checking if I've been in focus this entire time. I apologize. Now I'm gonna go back and add some more colors here and there. This book was a read of 2024 that I really, really enjoyed. I am very excited to do more looks about more books. I'm so sad that name is taken. Books and looks. I guess I could do looks and books, but So the Fable app is where I get a lot of book recommendations through the book clubs that I've joined on there. I'm also part of an in-person book club here in LA as well. I don't trust Book Talk. I want to get that out. My first video back, I do not trust Book Talk. I stopped trusting them kind of immediately after reading some stuff recommended on there, and yeah, it's a no from me, dog. So I try to get my book recommendations from friends, or there's a few book creators that I follow, but it's very few. For the longest time, I would get all my book recommendations from my clients. Whenever I tattoo someone, I ask them, if they're into reading and whatnot. That's how I got my TBR list to, I think it's close to 200 books at this point. Don't love that. Wish I had all the time in the world to get through 200 books. Now I kind of have stopped asking for book recommendations because I'm like, I can't keep up. All right, I'm going to go in with some black liquid liner and do some pretty messy lines to contain all this. I'm just going for it. And I'm also going to be using it on my brows, which is why I don't have any product in them. I didn't do them before starting. I only did my skin. Yeah, I went from having 0 books on my TBR to having like 200 in a fairly short amount of time, and it just keeps growing and growing. Oh, I just remembered something that I started recently. Totally random, has nothing to do with the TBR, but kind of. Like I said, I get a lot of book recommendations from clients, and I've had clients give me books as well, and that got me thinking, and I created a little free library at the tattoo shop I work at. So if you come get tattooed, you can leave with a book. It's like leave a book, take a book. You don't necessarily need to leave a book to take one. I'm super excited about it. I think it's a really cute idea. There's a couple of free libraries in my neighborhood. I've always loved the idea of them. So yeah, I decided to do one at the shop. With that being said, I would love to get book recommendations from you guys, especially book covers that you would love to see turned into a makeup look. I have sketched out a few already of books that I have read. I think I've sketched out like 5 or 6 different ones, but let me know what cover you would like turn into a makeup look. And this is what I would consider a simpler look. I do plan on doing like full face ones, like the full face paint, which is what you guys know and love here from the channel. I just thought I'd ease back in with a slightly simpler one to start because you know what? I am out of practice with filming, with editing, with the whole shebang. Okay, I also haven't addressed this, but I do want to address, a lot of people ask me like why I stopped doing YouTube. Honestly, mostly because of the editing. Editing takes up so much time, and it also caused a lot of physical pain because I would be sitting for hours editing videos. So now I decided to get a standing desk like attachment and a little walking pad as well so that I can edit while I walk, and that way I won't get back pain anymore from editing videos. So hopefully that'll be a really good new change. I also forgot to mention when I was telling you guys about the things I've been really into lately, which is tattooing, reading books, also weightlifting. I've been really into weightlifting. I've been lifting for over a year now. I've got little baby muscles now, which I'm very excited about. That's another thing that I have grown to love. I never thought that I would one day be a weightlifter. I don't know if I'm ever going to enter into a competition or anything. I just know that I love the powerlifting style of lifting. I also think that the last time you guys saw me here on YouTube, my hair was not shaved. And I've been shaving for over a year now. So yeah, it's been a minute, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to keep my uploads fairly frequent. I'm aiming for once a week. Don't know if it's gonna happen. It might be once every other week. But I'm gonna try to be consistent about it. If anything, just because I love yapping about books so much, so that'll get me filming. Even though granted, today I didn't really yap so much about this book. It's just, obviously with nonfiction, it's a lot of information, but they tell it in the form of stories, kind of, pertaining to each individual that they talk about. So I feel like it's hard for me to yap about it in that sense, other than me just being like, you should read it. It's really informative. I think this is a book that, especially if you normally wouldn't pick it up, I think you should pick it up. It really gives a very well-researched, very informed perspective on the subject. I think it's honestly a really great tool to have for people who think that trans people are a new invention. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's a really good book to just be like, here, you like history so much? Here you go. Read this book. So I feel like this book is really a way to not necessarily arm yourself with arguments, but to hopefully open up some people's eyes and minds. I think if anything, it's a book that can really open up new conversations around the subject, which is always a good thing. I'm going to line my eyes with the ColourPop Creme Gel Liner in the color Puppy. I had not planned on a waterline color, but I feel like I need to. I can't just leave my waterline bare. The books I'm currently reading, I'm listening to 2 audiobooks and reading 1 physical book. The 2 audiobooks are In the Dream House. I started reading that one because of a banned books book club I'm a part of on Fable. And that one is by Carmen Maria Machado. And that one is a pretty rough read. It's about queer domestic abuse between a lesbian couple. And I usually try to have a few books going at once with like very different vibes so that if I don't feel like listening to one, I can listen to another. So then I started listening to The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. And turns out that one also has domestic abuse in it, which I did not know. I just thought it was going to be a wholesome book, which it is, but also not. So those are the 2 audiobooks I'm listening to currently. And the physical book I'm reading is Lost Gods by Brahm, which, funny story, I have been a fan of his artwork for years. He's a brilliant painter, and I've just known him as a painter. That's it. And then recently, a mutual of mine on Instagram, the Literary Tart, I love her content, she posted about books that she loved reading recently. And one of them was Slewfoot by Brahm. And I was like, oh, is this an art book of his? Like, what is this? And she's like, no, girl. He's a writer. Like, this is a novel. And I was like, what do you mean he's a writer? He's a painter. And turns out a lot of the paintings that I have known and loved are part of his books. So he does paintings for obviously the book covers, but then there's also paintings in the middle. Like, he paints a bunch of characters and he puts them in the middle of the book. So I asked for his books for Christmas and I was given Lost Gods. So I've been reading that since Christmas. I only read a couple pages a day from that one. That one stays by my bed, so I just read a little bit before bed. So I've been making slow progress on that one, but I'm almost halfway through at this point. So those are the current 3 that I'm working on. In the Dream House is very like dense. It's very poetic. Her writing style is very interesting, but it is one that I need to be paying attention to a lot to like really grasp it and really process what she's saying. The other one, The Lost Bookshop, I've read The Story Collector by Evie Woods and I loved it. The main character is an American that ends up in Ireland, and I lived in Ireland for a bit, so it was right up my alley. It was very whimsical. And The Lost Bookstore takes place in Dublin, again in Ireland, and in Paris. And I've lived in both of those cities, and I've been reading it or listening to it, and I'm like, did I write this book? Because I feel like it was made for me. So thoroughly enjoying it, thoroughly enjoying Lost Gods. I'm very excited to finish all of them. I only have a few days left to finish In the Dream House, even though I'm not even halfway through. So I'm gonna have to like speed up on that one a little bit. That's the other thing that I like about getting my books from the library, is because it gives me a deadline of when I have to finish them by. Otherwise, I take my time a little bit, you know? Usually I start off listening to my audiobooks at regular speed, then I bump it up to 125, then I bump it up to 150, and when I have like 2 days left to read the book, then I double speed it. Okay, I've been going back and forth about doing a blush. I'm still unsure. I might just do a heavy contour. I'm gonna do lips first. I think for lips, I'm gonna go with this dark blue that I used on my eyes, the Black Opal lipstick. I hope this one's still good, but if not, I'm only wearing it for like 5 minutes, so should be okay. Okay, I'm looking at the book cover again, and there is this shade of blue, but there's also one that has a slight hint of purple, so I think I'm going to do that for the lips. Since I didn't use it on the eyes, I'm going to include it in the lips. I'm going to leave this layer of the blue on and just add a purple on top. I couldn't find any blue-based purples. I only have warm tone purples. Oh god, this smells. This Fenty Beauty Undefeated, but I think it should work. Yeah. Oh my god, lips are so hard to get right. I haven't worn dark lipstick in so long, but it's so annoying to get it even. So hopefully they're even. I think this purple was the right move. There is this color on the cover, so I think that's the way to go. I still need to figure out what the hell I'm doing with my cheeks. I'm going to go with a deeper contour and see if I'll be happy with that. If not, we'll add some blush. Okay, this one's actually like halfway between a contour and a blush. Like it looks like a contour in the pan, but then on my skin, I use this as blush all the time. It's the Lime Crime Software Blush in Java, and I'm just going to apply that. Like, see how it goes kind of reddish on the skin, even though it is still like a contour. So I'm just going to use this and see how I feel. I feel like a slight touch of blush couldn't hurt. I might live to regret this, but I'm going in with the Likely Makeup Clown Blush. I'm going to do a mix of these two. I'm going to start off with the yellow just as like a very light base and work up to something more. But even a yellow blush might be the way to go, actually. I don't hate just a touch of the yellow blush. Now I'm going to do the slightest. I'm dipping into the yellow first just to like coat the brush, just so I get a smidge of the orange in there, because it is very intense, and I'm just slightly tapping, getting the excess off my brush, and then going in and blending that out. Okay, don't hate that. I don't think this was the wrong move. Now I'm going to pop on some of the Melt Leo lashes, and I'll be back to show you the finished look. I also added little tiny bottom lashes on the outer corners because I thought it would be a cute little touch. And this is the finished look. Here it is side by side with the book cover to compare. What did you think? Does this remind you of the book cover, or does it just look a mess? I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope you enjoyed it. Actually, I want to turn off this light so that you can see. I feel like this light on the side is really strong, so I want to turn it off for 1 second so you guys can see without it. Now it's a little dark, but I feel like you can see the look a little bit better on this side. I don't know how to pose anymore. Ah! I had a lot of fun doing this. This was pretty quick and simple compared to a lot of my other makeup looks. You'll know that this is simple if you've been here for a while. If you're new, I forgot to say welcome. I used to do YouTube very regularly. I did it for a very long time, and now I'm trying to come back little by little. If you've been here for a while, I want to thank you. Thanks for not giving up on this channel. It might have seemed like I did for a while, but we're back, baby. Let me know what you thought of this type of video. Give me your book cover recommendations and book recommendations. Yeah, I would love to get your feedback. I would love to know what you thought, honestly, because I'm just trying something new, trying to have fun with it. So I hope you guys had fun too. I can't wait for the next one. I don't know which one I'll be doing. I kind of want to give you a sneak peek, but not really. Kind of want to keep it a surprise. I'm definitely going to be doing some of my favorite reads from last year as makeup looks. I'm really excited to be back. Hopefully I'll get back into the swing of things real soon. Hopefully I'll have all the technical difficulties figured out. But in the meantime, you can find me on Instagram. That's usually where I'm most active. You can find me on TikTok as Pompberry Inc. There I just post tattoo stuff. Instagram, I kind of post everything. You can find me on Fable if you want to see my book reviews and see what I'm reading. I've thought about starting a book club on there, so let me know if that's something you guys are interested in. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope there are fellow readers out there. I know there are, because I feel like there's a lot of common interests between us. So again, for the millionth time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!